Hello guys and welcome back to League One Predictions. We are back with a full set of fixtures as the international break is over and it's the last one until March. I'm joined as always by the wonderful Benjamin Bloom. How are you?
I'm good, mate. It was a bit dull, wasn't it, League One? I know we're here to celebrate League One, but not many goals, not many wins. I'm lovely, Matt, apart from my daughter being massively overstimulated by the sight of snow this morning in beautiful Bedfordshire. So, yeah, and there's more bad news here with our scores from last week, right?
Well, Ben, you did beat me, so I've got to give you credit where it's due. 2-1 from the 5 games, but look at those scorelines on the screen there, everyone. 3 goalless draws, a 1-0 win and a 1-1 draw. Let's hope it's snowing goals this week, hey, Ben? There's a 3-point gap in it now, so I need to really try and close the gap and make up some ground on Ben here because he is just edging ahead with these 1-point victories every week now.
Can I give you some advice, Matt? The best way to close the gap, I need you to be playing lots of 5 or more goal predictions here, mate. Fill your boots. Let the mind games begin.
Not after last week, Ben. I think I need to play a load of 0-0 draws. We'll see. Guys, before we get into the mind games, be sure to share your predictions down in the comments. Make sure to drop a like as well. We'll go for 1,000 to celebrate the return of all teams being back in action. And make sure you're subscribed over here for more League One predictions and subscribe to the first link in the description to check out Benjamin Bloom's channel. Make sure to do that. We've got the Premier League check-in coming out later today as well. Right, Ben, let's get into the predictions. We start with Bolton versus Blackpool. 2010-11? This was a Premier League matchup. Obviously, both now in League One. Bolton currently 11th. Blackpool a bit further down in 18th. Blackpool couldn't go back to winning ways at the weekend against Northampton. They were one of the teams to have drawn 0-0. Bolton had a week off. How are you assessing this? Are Bolton favourites?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, a bit worried about Blackpool because you kind of want a sensible read on the results. What you don't want is win, lose. It's kind of a bit too extreme, isn't it? So, yeah, I would agree that Bolton are the favourites. So I will be backing them for the win. They're normally quite goalie Bolton, aren't they? So should we go both teams to score? Let's go Bolton 3, Blackpool 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, look at that, diving straight in with the goals. Right. So I was looking at some of the underlying numbers for League One, Ben.
Oh, mate, you're going to destroy me this week.
No, because they've confused me, actually. Blackpool are really high up in creating chances, whether it's set piece, counter-attacking. They seem to be really high on the metrics, but they're not putting it into practice on the football pitch. So I'm like, do I think it's going to come right or not? I don't think it's going to come right. I just don't like this run of form, despite what I've just said about their numbers. I think they might play good stuff, but I'm going to go for Bolton, and I'm going to go low scoring. I'm playing it tactical, 1-0 to Bolton. You might have to get used to a few of these results this week, Ben. I'm going to play it very, very cagey
a wintry theme here, yes?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. 1-0 to Bolton. We're both backing Bolton Wanderers to get the home win. Next up, Ben, I love this one. I love the storyline we've got here. We've got Gareth Ainsworth going in at Shrewsbury Town, and he's got the easy task of Birmingham City. First of all, Gareth Ainsworth, I really like him. I think he's a great character. Brilliant job at Wycombe. His time at QPR, I guess he did keep them up in the first season, but
horrendous though. You're being nice. It was dreadful, wasn't it? Bless him.
I think there was that one result where they beat Burnley away from home that I was like,
14% possession or something. yeah.
But no, you're right. On the whole, it was a downward trend. But yeah, maybe League One is his level, and Shrewsbury need results because they are now bottom of the table. They have the home advantage, Ben, but it's Birmingham City. I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'll try and be a bit more fun later, but I'm going to play it safe with Shrewsbury 0, Birmingham 2.
Someone please in the comments do it, or a few of you do it. Please give us Shrewsbury 1, Birmingham 0, and ball in play, 33 minutes, Birmingham 116% possession and 58 shots or whatever. Someone do it in the comments. Matt's not doing it. I'm not doing it either. I do think he'll make it hard. Maybe they could even take the lead. They'll just bombard them for 10 minutes or whatever, and he'll have them so hyped up as well. So let's go for Shrewsbury to score, but Birmingham to win. Shrewsbury 1, Birmingham 2.
Birmingham 2. There you go. A couple of both teams to score already there from Ben. I like it. Shrewsbury, like I say, bottom, 6 points adrift. And if you look at the League One table, the interesting thing of Birmingham City is how many games they've played compared to the teams also in that top 6. So, yeah, they could really push on into the distance when they're catching up on the games in hand.
Or they could come too quickly, Matt, and they could start tripping over. If the fixtures are too frequent, especially through the winter. Yeah,
well, that's it. I presume it's obviously the international breaks. Their quality of players is probably the reason why they're not playing during the international breaks. And everyone else is playing more games than them at the minute. They will have a busy schedule coming up. The next one, Ben, Stevenage versus Leyton Orient. Stevenage 15th, Leyton Orient 20th. Leyton Orient picked up 2 wins in the last 3 before they come into this one, but we haven't seen either of them for 2 weeks. It does make it a bit more difficult, doesn't it? Because you're trying to cast your mind back. So they both didn't play last weekend. I'm looking at this one and thinking it could be low scoring. But Ben, over to you.
Do you know what? I think I'm going to back against Stevenage at the Lamex, which I don't very often do. I'm looking at an all comps run here, Matt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 win in 9. Loads of draws. I can see 3 1-1 draws. I don't know. We said who is it? It's Alex Ravel, isn't it? Is the boss now? We said how much is he going to be able to just take the winning football of the last couple of seasons? And if you are just on fumes and on momentum, I'm not saying he is, but if you are, this is about the time where that maybe runs out, Matt. And I think Orient are due a bit of a trend. Are they in a bit of a false position? Is that fair to say? So I will go Orient to win this one 2-0. Stevenage 0, Orient 2.
Do you know what? That's come as a bit of a surprise because I have gone for Stevenage. I thought you might.
I know. I get why. Yeah.
I thought you might steal this. Stevenage 1-0.
Yeah.
I think.
I can see it. Yeah.
If Stevenage are going to win, I think that's probably how they'll do it. I think it'll be low scoring. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Richie Wellens, Leyton Orient, we spoke about before the season started. They were pretty good last season. Got a good feeling about this season. Then, it's not really happened. I mean, they are hovering. By the way, the bottom 4, some of them have started to put results together. So Orient could fall in if they're not careful. Stevenage, though, 1 point in the last 4, so they need to get the results. So I will go with Stevenage. But
by the way, Matt, this might not be one for the purists. Possession 1, final third per match. Orient lead the division, joint with Birmingham. Stevenage is third. And we know Birmingham are trying to play a expressive high pressing game, whereas the other two sides might be trying to get the ball forward and win it high up. And we know what happens when both teams try to do that. And there's not much midfield action, put it that way. So it may not be one for the purists.
Yeah, I suppose we'll see how that one plays out. Let us know if any of you are going to Stevenage versus Leyton Orient. Next up, Ben, we'll go to Oakwell. Barnsley take on Wigan Athletic. Barnsley been on a decent run. I mean, they only managed to draw against Cambridge last time, but it looks as if they were pushing for it. On the whole, to put some good results together. It's 5 unbeaten with 3 wins in there, up to 5th place, but it is so crowded around the playoff picture. They take on Wigan. Wigan's form's not been great, Ben. Still quite like their defensive numbers. They don't concede many, but they've got to score more points, really. I'm going to go with Barnsley, and I'll go 2-0.
You've left the door open for the 1-0 then. I thought you were going to take the 1-0. Yeah, I totally agree with your logic. Barnsley trending up, and Daryl Clark, frankly, proving me wrong about getting the job in the first instance. So, yeah, well played to him. But, yeah, you're right. Wigan's attacking output stinks, doesn't it? So this is more a prediction against Wigan than it is for Barnsley. Not that Barnsley need help, because as you say, they're in pretty decent nick themselves. So yeah, I'll take the 1-0, and it's less of a clean sheet and more of a Wigan not to score, even though that amounts to the same thing.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, I get your point. You'd imagine 1 might be enough to win it for Barnsley. Yeah, Wigan's goal scoring numbers are not great, so I feel like 2 should be enough to win it for Barnsley. That's why I go on 2-0, but yeah, I can see 1 being enough. The next one, Ben, is Burton versus Stockport. Stockport were the only team to win last week. Everyone else drew. Obviously, Wrexham lost to Stockport in the process. Stockport, difficult to put your finger on here, Ben. I mean, they've actually climbed back into the playoffs now. They're 4th with 3 wins in the last 4. Are we saying they're a streaky team, do you reckon?
Possibly, Matt, but there's something really confusing about this. Stockport have played 6 consecutive home games. It's just a real weird quirk where they've had an FA Cup game, an EFL trophy, and I don't know what if there's Stockport fans who can explain it to us in the comments why it's worked out that way. So they haven't actually played an away game in any of the last 6 games. But
perhaps during the last international break, it was called off and they were meant to be away. Possibly.
Yeah, I don't. Stockport fans, illuminate us. But if you've got Dave Challoner defensive record and Louis Barry, you will win games of football in League One. Are you up first, mate?
No, you are.
I'll take Stockport then. I normally take Stockport with a clean sheet, but Burton are a bit ridiculous, aren't they? So let's give them a goal. Do you know what? Let's go. Should we go heavy? Because we have had those silly 5-0s. Or no, is that silly? Challoner's, that's not typical.
Do it. Do it.
I was going to go 4-1. Should I do it? I haven't played for a bonus point. Yeah, go on. Burton 1, Stockport 4. Louis Barry to score 4 identical goals and on his march to winning League One Player of the Season.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, he was the player that obviously got the winning goal last week against Wrexham, Louis Barry. We said for a few weeks, keep an eye on him. Yeah, interesting. You've mentioned about the run of fixtures they've had. They've all been at home. Maybe if they're going to be away from home here, unfamiliar territory, I'll go different. I'll go for a draw to spice things up. Yeah, I make Stockport favourites. Burton's form's not been great, but they seem to score a few. I mean, they've scored 15 and 14. Yeah, they need results. 6 points from safety. Do you know what? I'll go 1-1. Interesting little surprise there, I guess. I'll stick with the theme from last week where there was draws everywhere. Let's go for another draw here. Burton 1, Stockport 1, which would maybe feel as an opportunity missed for Stockport County. The next one, Ben, Crawley Town versus Rotherham United. Crawley have actually started to improve, actually. What's that? 1 defeat in 5. So if you're down at the bottom 4, that is traction, isn't it? With 1 win in there as well. They're churning out just around a point per game in the last 5, just over that. And they take on Rotherham, who are treading water, should we say, above the bottom 4. I mean, God, if Rotherham lose this could really spell trouble, couldn't it? Right, I'm up first. Do you know what? I'm going to go for a 0-0. Let's go for a 0-0 in here. I think it could be cagey. Rotherham have got to make sure they don't lose. Preferably, got to win. But Crawley have started to improve again, so I will give them something. 0-0.
I'm on one of my favourite places in the internet, Matt, and it's Steve Evans' Wikipedia page. Because I was just checking, I'm sure he managed Crawley, and he did for 5 years as well. So it's only...
Didn't they had that FA Cup run when they were non-league and they played Man United or something? I don't know if you remember that. Let's go back a long time, though.
I don't. Yeah, well, this is 2007 to 2012. So other than Boston versus Rotherham, I think this is the biggest Steve Evans derby that you can. Oh, no, is it? No, Boston versus Crawley, I think, would be the biggest Steve Evans derby. But anyway, where am I going with this? I'm gonna do it again. And I'm going to be wrong, I know. I'm going to back Rotherham. He's either going to get sacked or they're going to start winning. And poor old, what's he called? Tony Stewart, the owner there, is just going to have to admit he's got this incredibly wrong and it's not going to work. But I'm going to back good old Steve. And if they're going to win, it's going to be a wintry 1-0, isn't it? Crawley 0, Rotherham 1 against my better judgment.
Yeah, there you go. Both going low scoring, but you're just edging Rotherham. I'm going for the 0-0 draw. I've got to say, I mean, yeah, they brought in Steve Evans towards the end of last season. You know, and the business they did at the start of the summer, I thought they're going to be ready for this season. They're going to be right up for it, Rotherham. But yeah, they've been probably the most underwhelming team in League One this season. You look at where they are in the table, and if they lose this, that could be curtains. Next up, Ben, Huddersfield Town versus Charlton Athletic. You're up first here. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking a home win on this one. I know I've been quite high on Huddersfield all season, but I just got the form table up. Where is it? The second, and Wycombe are obviously like streets ahead of everyone because they've won every single game. But on a 6-game form table, I mean, it's not 2 points per game, but it is 11 points from 6 for Huddersfield. And Charlton just aren't able to get going, are they? They have the odd, they're not able to put multiple results together really since those opening weeks of the season. So I think it will be a low margin Huddersfield win. So I'm thinking 1-0 or a 2-1. Let's split the difference and go for 2-0 then. Huddersfield 2, Charlton 0.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm just edging Huddersfield as well. I'm going to go 1-0 to Huddersfield. Charlton's form's tailed off. I mean, no wins in the last 4. I think they're a bit draw heavy at the minute. But yeah, you'd fancy Huddersfield, especially at home. Maybe if it was at the Valley, you think Charlton might be able to grind out one of those 1-0 home wins. But I'm going to go for a Huddersfield 1-0 home win here. And as we said before, Huddersfield, you can afford a slow-ish start, but you've got to get moving at some point if you're really serious about that top 2. And you look at them, 8th place, 7 points off the top 2 right now. And obviously Birmingham City have got a game in hand. A bit of hard work there for Huddersfield if they're going to try and crack back into that top 2 conversation. Speaking of the automatics, Ben, we've got Wycombe Wanderers, who are still top of the table. They are away at 6th place, Lincoln
What a game.
City. Yeah, this is shaping up to be a good one. I think Lincoln City maybe get, I don't want to say overlooked in our predictions because I think...
I do sometimes. I'll admit that. I should have been higher on them this. Apologies to Lincoln fans. They're, they are just a good side. And I was speaking to... Jack, who I had on a show I did on my channel, and he goes from the betting angle, and he was very hot on Lincoln.
Interesting. Was he hot on Wycombe Wanderers as well, or?
Was actually, yeah. He thinks there's more sustainability in it than I do.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? It makes this one difficult.
That's the long game, not just this weekend. He's talking about the promotion prices, but yeah.
I get that. I could definitely see them both being right up there till the end of the season. They're not teams that have just suddenly had one good season despite loads of terrible seasons before this. I think Wycombe are usually top 10, and Lincoln last season were right on the edges, so they're both pushed on. As for a prediction, this run of form from Matt Bloomfield's Wycombe is unbelievable. Obviously, he's been linked with the Coventry City job. I really want him to stay at Wycombe, not because I don't want him to come to Coventry, but I'm saying if any job comes up, I'd love him to see this through.
Matt. Keep digging.
Yeah. I'd love him to see this through and get them to the Championship again. Difficult one, but I'm going to go for Wycombe. Lincoln 1, Wycombe 2. So, yes, I am overlooking Lincoln again.
I'm glad you've taken that because it means I can take the draw. I wanted someone to take the 7th straight win because we've said on this show, and I've said on my channel many times, in the EFL, in a 46-game season, an 8-game winning streak, go and look at the history, all of those teams get promoted. That's a real huge, big flag saying, okay, this is done. 8 on the trot at any point in the season is just... massive, and they've done 6, haven't they? So I'll take the draw then, and we'll acknowledge that Lincoln are just a good side and have been since what's the fella called, Skubala came in. So hold up one of those then, Matt. 1-1.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you've done that because I didn't want to both go for Wycombe after what I said previously.
We would deserve the grief from the Lincoln fans, wouldn't we, frankly?
Yeah, and look, I wouldn't be that surprised if they win this either because they've been great this season. But I don't know, I just couldn't go against Wycombe, the form they're in. And like you say, imagine if they get to 8 wins in a row. Maybe if they push that as well, that would be incredible. 9 wins or something. Right, next up, Mansfield Town, who have actually come out of the playoff picture, Ben. They're down to 7th now. It's always changing.
Haven't they played loads fewer games, though? Is that right?
They have.
Yeah.
And during the international break, obviously, your Barnsleys, your Stockports have moved up a bit. So Mansfield 7th, Bristol Rovers 14th. And interestingly, looking at the table, if Bristol Rovers beat Mansfield, they're only 3 points behind them. And, Bristol Rovers join this conversation of teams chasing the playoffs. I haven't played a bonus point yet, Ben. But you're up first, actually, so I'm going to wait until you've said your prediction.
Well, we like Mansfield for loads of goals, don't we? So I think you're going for a high-scoring home win. In fact, I think you might be doing something like that, Matt, but we'll get to that in just a second. I won't do that and be a meanie, but I will take Mansfield. I'll go simpler. I'll go 2-1. Mansfield 2, Bristol Rovers 1.
Yeah, you can read me like a book. 3-2 to Mansfield.
We do this every week, mate.
Yeah, I was thinking this game is a good one to play a bonus point. I was thinking possibly 4-1, but then I thought it might be a bit harsh on Bristol Rovers. They're not, quite down at the bottom. So I thought I'd give Bristol Rovers a couple of goals, but I just fancy Mansfield. They're right in that conversation. They've had a great season. So there you go. Both back in Mansfield by 1 goal. And goodness me, I mean, you look at it, Ben, could be a real high tide for the just for 6th place this season with the way some of these teams are performing. So we'll wait and see. Next up, do we dare to call it a derby, Ben? Northampton v Cambridge.
Whatever you say, you will trigger snowflakey football fans, Matt. But yes, these teams are located in vaguely similar parts of the country. But please don't be offended if Matt or I refer to it as a dot. Well, I suppose it's Cambridgeshire versus Northamptonshire, so different counties, isn't it? But
yes, that's right.
The big derby obviously was won 6-1, wasn't it, by Posh a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? But yes, you can call it anything, Matt, and I won't get upset, but some people might.
On the back of that 6-1 defeat to Peterborough, Cambridge did show somewhat of a reaction, drawing 1-1 against Barnsley.
Impressive.
Definitely a step in the right direction, and on the whole, their form's been good. Maybe you look at that Peterborough result as a blip. Northampton, though, I mean, they're churning out some decent results. 0-0 at Blackpool's not a bad one. Let's have a look. Where have they got to now? 16th in the table, 1 defeat in 6. I'm possibly going to go down the middle here, Ben, but I'm going to go Northampton. I'll go 1-0 to the Cobblers.
I'm going to play wintry 0-0 here because I don't think I've played one yet. I totally agree with you, though, that Cambridge had that lovely run of 1-0 wins, got absolutely demolished by Peterborough in a derby. I'm definitely calling that one a derby. And I agree with you. That's great to bounce back and not lose to. So maybe, we were kind of wondering, are they going to win 3 games and then, regress back to being a bottom 4 side? So I want to give them the respect there. But Northampton, one that get overlooked by me as well. So we're going to give them a point, 0-0.
Interesting. And you look at the table now, if Crawley or Cambridge get a result, then they could actually jump out the bottom 4 this weekend because Wigan and Leyton Orient are sort of like sitting ducks at the minute. I mean, not picking up lots of results. And I don't know, I suppose this is better for the neutral and obviously gives the teams down there a fighting chance because it seemed all done and dusted at one point. But there you go. There's life in some of these teams down at the bottom after all. Ben, next up, you're going first for Peterborough versus Reading. I think we can call this, is it 10th v 12th? So slight mid-table / playoff chasing matchup.
I think this is a good opportunity to do something completely ridiculous because Peterborough are peak Peterborough at the moment, aren't they? So I am going to play a 4-3 and I'm going to take all my flowers if this comes in. Just massively goal happy. We think Reading are actually a fairly decent side and, we've been impressed with, their kind of stoic nature through very choppy waters. It's both teams to score. It's a Peterborough win, 7 goals. Give me it here. Peterborough 4, Reading 3. Have that comments.
And that is undoubtedly a 5-pointer. That is a 5-pointer.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, goodness me, a 7 goal. I don't think I've ever seen a 7-goal prediction come in on a YouTube channel before, so that would be unbelievable. And it makes my prediction look quite boring now. I was going to say both teams to score 2 on Peterborough. Looks really boring next to your prediction now, but
mate, it's not boring if it comes in.
Well, no, that's true. Reading's numbers. I mean, Reading, to be fair, have had quite a few goals going in and against, and then Peterborough 31 scored, 27 conceded. I mean, goodness me, could be
interested.
Fireworks.
Can we just quiz any Posh fans in the comments? They must be one of the most fun teams I know they often fall in love with star players and quickly sell them, but over the last even like 20 years or so, it's always been the same. Always win the majority of their games in League One, but tend to not get promoted and lose in playoffs and things of that nature. Bring through some amazing strikers and attacking players. And here they are again doing what they always do. Tell us in the comments, Posh fans, are you one of the most fun teams to support in the 92? Yeah,
that's a good point. I mean, Ivan Toney was Peterborough, wasn't he? Was Ivan Toney Peterborough?
Player, yeah.
Obviously, Coventry's Mason Clark came from there. We said Poku as well. Clark Harris.
Clark Harris.
Oh, wow, yeah. Funny hell.
I go back with Etherington and Davies, who both went to Spurs. They've had some brilliant players, Peterborough. You could put together, someone do that in the comments. Give me a Posh 11 from, I don't know, 1990.
Yeah, goodness me. Right, we've only got one game left, Ben. It's Wrexham versus Exeter City. Both teams failed to score last week, and Exeter drew 0-0 with Lincoln. I think they had a red card right at the end, so they'll have a player suspended.
The worst result, yeah.
Wrexham went down 1-0 to Stockport. Wrexham still third, but played a couple of games more than Birmingham, one game more than Wycombe. If they're going to be right in that top two, they've got to, I suppose, be a bit more consistent. Maybe the form's not even that bad. I suppose it's just the standard right at the top, isn't it? If Wycombe are going to win 6 in a row, then what can you do? I've got to back Wrexham here, Ben. Exeter are not bad. Let's go for a fairly safe 2-0 Wrexham, I reckon.
I've just done a silly thing and I've split the tables home and away here because I thought Wrexham skewed much better at home, and they absolutely do. So points for Wrexham at home, 19 in 7 games, which is extraordinarily good, well over 2 points per game. And you may not be surprised to realise, Matt, 9 from 8. So they're pretty much twice as good at home, points-wise, as they are away from home. And they are at home. Exeter are on a good run. So what did you take, Matt? Sorry.
2-0.
Oh, you've left me the 1-0 then. It seems fairly played. Well, should I take the 3-0? No, that's not fair on Exeter, who are a decent side. I'll take it. Wrexham 1, Exeter 0.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. You've already thrown in a load of goals today, to be fair. We've had a 4-3, a 4-1, a 3-1, a 2-1, loads of 2-1s, actually. And there you go. That wraps up the League One predictions. We're both ending with a Wrexham victory. Guys, in the comments, be sure to let us know your predictions. Copy and paste from the description. Play along with myself and Ben. Make sure you've dropped a like and supported our League One content by subscribing over here. And make sure you subscribe to Benjamin Bloom, where they can find what kind of content?
Don't worry about my content, Matt. It's all about the 5-point prediction now that you've offered me. That's all. I'm not plugging anything here. I'm plugging the fact that Matt SB said I could have 5 points for Reading losing 4-3 at Peterborough. So, no, do check out the Premier League check-in with me and the very handsome, powerful, and charismatic Matt SB, which we're going to film. We're going to film in just a minute.
Yeah, we're gonna get that done today as well. So check that out. Ben will also have his own Championship predictions and Premier League predictions coming this week. Make sure to check out the Blue Monday podcast as well.
Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you.
Ipswich Town are taking on Manchester United this week. I'm really intrigued.
I noticed a familiar Coventry fan appear in the comments the other week. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, no, but it was a great win against Tottenham, I must say. Otherwise, that's it from us. A massive thank you for your support, Ben. A massive thank you to those of you guys in the comments that watch these videos. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace out.